we made a good point a second ago about identifying different demographics and maybe identifying when certain people want to be contacted and certain people don't want to be contacted. And I think we have a good example from, I think it was First Direct. They have these indicators for certain demographics, so maybe they have these indicators for certain people of a certain stage of life. So maybe they, again, more banks can maybe install these sorts of solutions and become more predictive about when people want to be contacted and when people don't want to be.
I mean, it's going slightly, off the beaten track, isn't it? Say, is somebody chatty or not? Not many banks will be thinking that. They'll say, are they 35 or married? And that's going to be, do we send them a mortgage application or not? So thinking slightly outside the box. I mean, if you look at some of the categorisation on Facebook, for example, whether you're in a relationship, which movies you like, that sort of thing. Banks should look for opportunities to collect that sort of data, and that would give them far more opportunities for thinking, outside the box, to use a very hackneyed phrase.
We've all been sort of talking about Web 2.0. And also about trust. I think there's a possible crossover with the fact that the younger generation tend to trust their phones. And I think it's been found that people will return home if they've forgotten their keys, forgotten their phone, but if they forget their wallet, they sometimes don't bother. Yeah. So it's quite interesting. And what I could see being more proactive on the bank's part. I mean, a credit card used to send me a text message the 5 working days before I needed to pay my. What I'd like to be able to do is set more of those kind of parameters myself. When my current account gets down to 30 quid, ask for an authorisation to move some money over from my savings account. Yeah. Something like that.
I mean, in the credit crisis, that's exactly what you need, isn't it? Management of your own finances. Yeah. And that would really engender trust.
But I would trust it if it turned up as a SMS, but I'd panic if it started turning up as emails, because
they probably go straight... A letter from the bank at the moment.
Yeah, well, yeah.
Try not to read them.
So we're thinking maybe control is an enabler for people to manage their finances better, and that's something well within the controls of a retail bank. It's interesting. So moving the conversation a little bit and sort of trying to maybe even throw a bone to the banks a little bit, understanding that they're going to be in a sort of a flux state at the moment in controlling what they do. So how will sort of banks in the future sort of talk to each other? I mean, what's the institutional part of this? Hedi?
Can you rephrase your question?
Sorry. Of course.